Welcome back to another episode of What the Foot, where we build the foundation of our body from the ground up. Today, we have Dr. Jake Jacobs. He's a PhD from University of Maryland in sports psychology and exercise. And he's here with us to share his expert opinion on the new way of life with COVID-19 and how we can cope with it. So, Dr. Jake, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Most of my career has been spent in teaching at the college and high school levels. Your health and phys ed instructor is part of my career, but what I do mostly now is teach for a couple universities. And most of what I teach, though, is in the management area, athletic administration. My background is exercise and sports psychology, and I have a lot to say about that as well.
That's wonderful to hear, because with this new COVID-19, it has dramatically changed the way we live our lives, for me, for you, and everyone else. And how we respond to a stressor, the new way of life is creating a stress in our life. And what I see is we can manage this well, and actually we can strive and we can be better if we manage properly. And what we like to know is, what do you see as a new normal here when we open back up with, the government start opening back up in the next few weeks?
Here's how I'd answer that, Dr. Ackett. Dramatically changed lifestyles, I'm not sure I'm seeing that yet. I think I see and hear a lot of people talking about this has got to become a new normal. But do I see a lot more people walking on the walking paths? I see more. I don't see the numbers that I expected to see. I would think with a lot of people having that much more free time, we see a lot more people walking. So I'm still hopeful that will be the new norm, that we'll see many more people out on these community walking paths. And that's probably the number one new normal change that I hope to see happen.
Well, it's actually, I really enjoy that. When I go out for my run, I see more people out there. And maybe because of the spring that is here as well. But I do notice, compared to last spring and this spring, there are more people out there and taking a walk. And so what do you see is what's stopping the other people that are not getting out? What do you see the challenges that people have from being active? And because we know as a fact that exercise and being active not only prolong our life longevity, it also adds to quality of life and our health as well. So what do you see are the challenges that people might have?
The new normal that we're talking about is to adopt walking into our daily routines. That's something we're all seeing a little bit more of from a lot more people. But why haven't we done that? And if we have started adopting it, how can we make that permanent? And that's the question. That's the heart of the question. Is how does a new normal become this healthy, active lifestyle that we all really must be practicing? And the answer to that is pretty simple, and it can be different for different people, but a lot of it hinges on a routine that you have built around this great habit of walking for exercise, whether with somebody or with a pet, or wherever you choose to do it. We need to build that habit into a routine, a daily routine. Just as important as getting a good night's sleep, we have to get a good day's walk in. That's most important thing I could say. But what gets us out there, and sometimes people respond to having maybe a calendar or a post-it note, a reminder, a schedule that reminds them to get that walk in. Some people respond to that. Some people respond to a walking partner who calls you, then you call them, that you meet. But we have to think about what kind of prompts us. And that's what I think is the real question, is to continue finding out what are our prompts to get us out there and doing our walks. And you don't need to have somebody do it. We want to do it safely. Um, but it always helps to have people that are supporting what you're doing and you're supporting them. I think that's critical.
One question I have for you is, can you tell me, I'm an avid runner, so running is a passion of mine more than just exercise. For most people, is running better or is it walking better? This is a question that a lot of people ask, and I know we put you on the spot here, but what's your opinion?
I hope I don't get it wrong, but I'm going to go with walking. I'm an avid runner myself, and most of my years, earlier years, were running 10Ks and 5Ks and short races. Um, but it's all walking. Everybody can walk. Just about practically everybody can walk. So the right answer has got to be walking.
Really, the bottom line is we want to make this fun. And if it's not fun, who's going to do it, right? And we all want to enjoy our life. That's what call quality of life. And if exercise is a form of punishment or we hate to do it, then we don't have the quality of life. So it's all about the balance of trying to create something that you can continue to be consistent, so that will be good for your health. Certainly, if you just go out there and walk or run once a week or once a month, that won't do much for your health. And I like, we talked about building the foundation, is to create something that we start slow, but we build from the foundation and we build up from there. And progress is what we recommend. So what do you see as a typical progress for somebody that want to get from the point of just start walking slow, getting to a point where they start to jog a little bit, and to get the maximum benefit, you have to hit those target heart rate. How quickly do you think people can get there? And what are the fun ways that you can recommend for people to do?
Well, I may not necessarily agree with the importance of target heart rate for most of our walkers. While I do think an elevated heart rate is what we're trying to achieve, as well as just being more active, and I think that is the goal, hitting our target heart rates is getting a little bit too prescriptive, and I think people don't respond well to prescription that way. But let me go back a step, because you said something about how can we vary formats. And I remember doing this in college classes I teach and Gold's Gym classes. I would have our class students walk backwards. Now there's a challenge. That's something different. Nobody does. And you have to be very careful, because if you think about it, when was the last time you walked backwards? Probably a long, long time ago. And you put yourself at a little bit more risk of injury, because you lose a little stability and balance and coordination that you haven't practiced in a long, long time. So when we do this walking backwards segment in our classes, we have one person face the other, locking elbows. So one person is walking forward while the other person is walking backwards, but they have their arms linked so that they're safe. And we don't do it for miles upon miles. We just do it for 100 feet or some flat, safe surface. Again, the point I'm trying to get to is something people rarely do is walk backwards. And it would be a good idea, if done safely, that we continue to add walking backwards to our walking activity.
Definitely. I like that idea of making it fun and making it challenging and change things up a little bit. There's actually studies to show that we're activating different part of the brain when we're walking or running backward. And even in our own town here, there's a gentleman that we meet him every week running backwards. And one day we stop and we ask him, why are you running backward? And come to find out, it's really interesting that he's an artist. And he said to help with his creativity, he run backward to activate a certain part of the brain that stimulate the creativity side of his brain. And that makes sense. And so there it is. And from there on, there are multiple times when I'm out there running, or especially during the warm up, I would be running sideways or even running backward to change things up a little bit. It helped improve our balance. Now, this recommendation is for people that can do this safely. So check with your doctor if this is something that you can do safely or not, and not to venture out of your safety zone and try something like that. But I really like that idea, and changing it up and making it challenging and making it different. And I think that's the fun part, the fundamental. So we have to have fun in that fundamental for us to continue to do this. And so as we are talking about this pillars that we always talk about, there's three main pillars to our health and wellness. And for me, really it boils down to eat, sleep, and play, which is the most simplified form. But what we're talking about is nutrition and food. We're talking about exercise and movement. And we're talking about the importance of sleep and recovery. But to simplify it is really eat, sleep, and play. And if we make it fun, we're going to make it part of our new normal.
The first thing is we all need to have a routine, a planner, something, a calendar on a wall that reminds us and rewards us at the same time to do the things that we know are good for us. The second thing I would think would be try to link up with somebody, especially if we're going to do something novel like walking backwards, where you have to practice some safety aspects more so than what everybody does normally walking. But you made me think of something you and I have talked about before, and that is within your own home, the activity of crawling on the floor is something it's only just now getting popular doing. So if you have a large enough space on the floor somewhere that you can get down on all fours, really it's more of a stretching activity than it is cardiovascular training. But what it does is it loosens us up. It kind of eliminates soreness and aches and pains, and it frees the mobility of the joints. And if there's one thing I think I'd love to see more people try, that would be crawling. And you don't need anything special for it, but a nice carpeted space in the house that you don't have to go outside to do it.
Wow. I think this relates to our audience as well. And number one is certainly try something new. Try something new, just as simple as crawling. Number two, you mentioned about the importance of getting somebody to do it with you. Accountability. That's very important to make it stick. And the third thing is just, as you mentioned, you don't have to get out there and run or do something that's too challenging. Just get out there and walk, get out there and move. So for people that have not implemented any healthy habit yet during this challenging time, now is the time to do it. And if you have already, let's hope that you can make it stick and continue this healthy habit as well. And Dr. Jake, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us and share your idea, those are great, fun ideas. And thank you for your time. And we look forward to having another session with you soon. And I would have a number of different topics that I would like to pick your brain and to help me, not only me, but our audience. So this message is for our audience, is to let us know what you are looking for in your journey or what difficulty you are facing. because we're here to help. We're on this journey together. And if you can share with us your difficulty, then we can help overcome these difficulty together. So, Dr. Jake, if do you have anything else to add on our episode here?
Only to say I'm so glad to hear you invite the audience to participate. That's what it's all about. But there was one more point, Dr. Atkins, and that was, I think it's important because it comes from the psychology of motivation. What reminds us, what rewards us to do these things? And for you, you may have your running shoes out next to your bed when you wake up in the morning, and there it is. It locks in, you know you're going to run. For many of us, it's a calendar on a wall, or maybe it's a sticky notepad sticker somewhere. We have to have things that remind us. Maybe they actually act as an incentive, incentivize us, rewards us. Those are the things we need to think about too.
So there it is, folks, an extra bonus tip for you to keep you on this journey and to be consistent with your new active lifestyle or healthy lifestyle. Thank you very much for following us, and look for us in future episodes where we have inspiring people that come and share their knowledge and experience and help us on our journey. And thanks again for following and watching our episode. Until the next time, have a wonderful day.